And we're joined now by Marco Jones, Associate Professor of Middle East Studies at Hamad bin Khalifa University. Very good to see you. Firstly, how significant would you say these comments by Chuck Schumer are? I've heard one former Middle East peace envoy, US Middle East peace envoy, call them a political earthquake.
They are, and I think we need to look in the context of American politics. Some people might say it's soft, but look at it this way. Chuck Schumer, at the end of the day, he's described as the highest-ranking Jewish official, elected official in the U.S., and he has said something, essentially a really scathing condemnation of Netanyahu during a time where the U.S., support for Israel is slowly eroding. This is really important and unprecedented, and what makes it really significant is that Schumer has been a long-time ally of Israel, right? In the past few months, he's even considering writing a book on anti-Semitism because he's concerned about the way liberal youth in America are viewing Israel. So to have him come and say this, I would say, is massively significant.
And does it show a rift in the Democratic Party, would you say, between those who want to give Israel carte blanche and the more progressives?
Well, I don't think the rift is that clear-cut. I think traditionally with a rift, you'd see people saying, no, we want to support Israel, we oppose what you're saying. But actually, I think the rift is more so that there are people now in the Democratic Party who really support more drastic action against Israel, such as the withdrawing of US aid, to those who are slightly more moderate in their desire to criticize it. I think the fact that Schumer's saying this is actually indicative, not necessarily of a split, but actually as a moving towards a general condemnation of Israel's genocide in Gaza. So I think there is a split, but it's not completely bifurcated. It's actually more subtle.
Yeah, and isn't interesting that he actually said that the US should be using more leverage, using the leverage it has with Israel. Do you think that that was hinting at conditioning the billions of dollars they give to Israel?
Absolutely. I think it's a euphemism for conditioning. And I think what we're seeing now progressively from Kamala Harris's condemnation to now Schumer's condemnation, and especially his mention, as you said, of leverage, I think this is basically suggesting that aid may be conditional. And this is sort of basically the last warning Netanyahu's getting from the US, or at least one of the last warnings he's getting to sort of say we need something. And Biden, as you mentioned, as was mentioned in the report, has, again, they've announced these sanctions on settlements. So they're clearly doing things in addition to this rhetoric to suggest that they're willing to take action. But whether we're far away from them actually conditioning aid, I think we're quite far from that point. But I think until there's actually a better delivery of aid in Gaza, we are going to continue to see the upping of this rhetoric.
And when we look at the latest sanctions against these outposts and settlers that the Biden administration announced on Thursday, settlements are illegal under international law. So why target just a few individuals?
Well, I think, this is absolutely right. I mean, let's not forget that these settlements have always been illegal under international law. So, but if you target them all at the same time, then really you lose that leverage, right? So I think what they're trying to do is say, hey, we're doing a few. We're going to see if you come to the table or actually sort of comply with what we're demanding of you, Netanyahu, first. If not, we'll take this a few steps further. So I think, again, if we don't see any movement on aid going into Gaza, what we're going to see is maybe sanctions on more settlements. So they're using it to give Netanyahu a longer, essentially, a bit of room to actually come to the table.
OK. And just lastly, going back to the point about conditioning aid, because this is something that's been spoken about a lot since the war on Gaza began, especially military aid, American weapons that are being used in the killing of Palestinians in Gaza. You don't think that that will happen. Many people don't think that that will happen. But just the fact that bringing it, to the US House of Representatives or to the Senate, that will delay it, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely kind of putting this on the table. But I think we still have to acknowledge at this point that the US is talking about and sending aid to Gaza, while at the same time sending military aid to Israel to kill Gazans, right? But I do think this is significant. And I think Netanyahu, crucially, will know that the possibility of having US aid withdrawn is on the table now, right? Because we are seeing a steady escalation. So I think it is significant, and I think it's something that we need to, or Israel needs to be very concerned about.
Marco Jones, thank you as always for your analysis. We appreciate it.